What's going on? It's your boy Deuce Wayne.
What's good? What's good? What's good? It's Big Merv in the building. You already know what's going on.
And we have another edition of SceneDMs, but this time it's a special episode, an extremely special episode. We are fortunate to be with someone nominated for the NAACP award for HBO's Ballers, one of my favorite shows with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Also into a comedy series, The Unicorn, with Walter Goggins. We know him, Big Dog from White Lotus right now. And most recently on the MGM Plus show, The Emperor of the Ocean's Park. But also, guys, he's in the movie Sinners as one of the best characters, Cornbread. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, what's up,
Benson Miller, man. What's going on?
Man, out here, just trying to keep a charge on my phone. But this movie exploded on the scene, and I'm really happy that the audience has just appreciated it, because it's a timely film.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We really love the film, man, and we just got a couple questions for you today. So when you first got the script, right? What initially drew you? What was your initial reaction to the script, and what really drew you to, the movie and like the character of Cornbread? Like what really like brought you to be like, all right, I'm gonna do this movie?
Coogler drew me to the film. He wrote this particular character in this role for me. I was honored by that. His body of work was fantastic. Nice. I've known Mike for more than 20 years. So it was an opportunity to put all the things together. And then on top of it, it was a world that I knew because familially, my family is from Mississippi, and my father and my grandfather and that side of the family is all from where this place takes place at that time.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Wow, that's incredible. As you know, the world loves Cornbread. We love Cornbread. I thought the acting was immaculate. Your performance was amazing. The delivery was on time. I appreciate you for that comedic presence, but who was someone that you emulated in your real life to inspire you to be that character, Cornbread? Like, what was your approach to building that character, or any specific techniques that you could break down into getting into that performance?
Well, in this particular situation, I was fortunate because I still had my father, and I was able to call him and pick his brain for my accent, for what it was like at the time in the South, in Mississippi. My father actually picked cotton in Mississippi in the 40s. Oh, wow. And in the time that we're in right now with Black history trying to be erased from so many different angles, it's so important to understand how recent all of this is. This isn't I didn't have to go dive into National Geographic and for some long historical, deep dive. I hit my father, and mm-hmm. I asked him what it was like to go to a juke joint. I asked him what it was like. I wear a hat in the film because the day we were about to start, I called my father and I told him what I was doing and asked him about the hat, not a hat, because I was wearing overalls, and I have pictures of my people, my grandfather, my uncles in overalls. Mm-hmm. And he was like, man, if you don't wear a hat out there picking cotton, you'll pass out. So it's probably the right move. Right. So there was a lot of personal, connection to the film. Yeah. And as far as my approach is always the same. Just commit to telling the story and being honest within the material.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Powerful, man. Well, we see, you're a towering figure, man. You're 6'6". We're tall guys. We know how it is in this world, man, being tall people.
How's your cartilage?
Mine is going through it too, man. Going through it, man. I'm 6'7" myself, so I understand how it is, man.
There's pros and cons. Most of it is pro, but the joint situation, damn.
No, trust me, man.
It's real.
Trust me, man.
Getting out of bed in the morning is very tough. Very tough.
People don't understand. One time I was at Formula One in Austin and ended up there with Usain Bolt in Lewis Hamilton's crew for the winner's circle and whatnot. And when he won, they asked us to all take a picture, and Bolt got low, and they were like, "Okay, hold on." Bolt was like, "Yo, man, they don't understand what's going on with my knees, bro." I was like,
you don't get it, man, and especially up here in Toronto when it's cold, man, the joints start hurting a little more, man. You gotta wake them up.
It's real. You got to lube them up.
Exactly. But when you're filming a movie like Sinners, right? What are certain adjustments do the crew or even Ryan Coogler do they have to make sure that your height is not a focal point, or what are some adjustments you have to make to make sure? He wanted it.
That's part of because Cornbread is a community guy, a neighborhood guy, that all these people know each other. Mm-hmm. This is a community. It's a community of people who know each other, and Cornbread works in the field. Yeah. So he does manual labor. So the size was a feature and not a bug. Mm-hmm. So that was always in his plan.
Yeah.
And the way Cougar's a wizard with the cameras, and our DP Autumn is fantastic. So it was nothing for them to have the frame. One frame that you see a lot in promo is Mike as twins and me off to their side.
Yeah.
He wants that look. He wants the figure to be cut. I'm supposed to be playing security for the Juke. I'm supposed to be tall. I'm supposed to be big. So it's not something that we had to do to try to avoid it, you know?
Okay. That was a main point. I like that. Do you feel you have to make adjustments in general in other movies, other things that you act in when you're 6'6", you know what I mean? You're a towering figure.
They have to make that adjustment. They run the camera.
Yes, sir.
Well, no, or they cannot hire me. That happens too. So it's like, you know, it's. I think I'm down to 6'5" now. Actually, I think I lost about an inch. But you can. It's, you know. I remember when I got the job for 8 Mile, they said exactly that. They told me, the producer told me, she was like, "We almost didn't hire you because we wondered if you would fit in the frame with everybody else."
Right.
So it's a factor.
Yeah, it's definitely a factor. I mean, speaking of 8 Mile, one of my favorite biopics, especially loving a guy like Eminem in real life.
I punched the shit out the line.
Now I'm the dashiki, smoking that licky, hitting freaky girls inside that chain tiki. Girl, when you see me, you better believe me. This ain't a game and pimping ain't easy. Anything goes when it comes to house. I'm the kingpin when it comes to flows. You better ask someone if you don't know. When you see me, girls say, "What up, dog?"
Shout out Mekhi Phife as well in that film. Being in that film, and then also and then being in roles like Ballers on TV. I wanted to ask you, like, how do you navigate between different genres? Because that film is very different in terms of 8 Mile.
Yeah.
And then, you know, your role in Ballers, and then also, do you prefer TV, especially with the explosion of streaming right now, or do you prefer acting on the big screen and still just bringing it to the blockbuster movies?
I prefer film. There's no two ways about it. It's a lot more common to get television work now because more stuff is made for streaming and for, you know, the home. But to be honest, I just prefer good projects. And my body of work, I try to make sure that there's an exclusivity to it, that when you go over my body of work and say, "Man, he was in that? Oh, man, I love that one. Oh, man, that's one of my favorites." Because I am not just out here working to work. We all got to pay the bills. But as an artist, I'm trying to do something special every time out. And, you know, for me, the process of making films, the collaborative nature of it, the time that gets taken to do it, it's usually less rushed than television. But I love it all. If you can get this kind of work, you can't really complain about any of it because it's hard work to come by. But if you get to work in this field, you know, you have an impact on the world. And I love that.
I love that, man. Love that. So obviously we're going to talk about Sinners again, but when in the movie, there's obviously so many memorable scenes, but what was one of the most memorable scenes you filmed? What was one of the scenes that you're like, yo, I love this scene. I loved filming it. I loved every part of it. Like, what would you say your most memorable scene in the movie is, or favorite, I would say, scene in the movie?
I love the scene when Remick, Joan, and Bert show up and they sing Pick Poor Robin Clean, and I have my man Troy at the door, go get the twins.
Yeah.
Because everybody in the main cast mostly is in that scene. The only people missing in the main cast in that one are the Chows.
Yes.
You know, and so it was all inclusive and we had a good time. It took a long time to do it. And I mean, I'm telling you, this is one of the first times I've been in a film where I believe each and every person that comes on screen. And on that day, it was great because you got to see so many great artists get busy.
I like that.
Wow, that's incredible. I just wanted to ask you, what I know it was, you know, being out there shooting in the heat. What was one of the challenging things, or one of the more, you know, I guess challenging things about approaching that process of filming during that type of climate and environment?
Forget about it. We're talking about New Orleans in the summer. We're talking about major heat. And for the part where I have to wear the prosthetic, it was like a muzzle. And you couldn't eat or drink. It was hard to breathe. So that was anytime, any of the scenes, whether it was the dance circle, the Irish dance circle, or whether
you were getting it in that one too.
Yeah, you were getting to it in that one.
It was feeling the music. It was feeling it. You know, and so anything that has that sort of, any of the pieces that where I was wearing that was a real challenge because there's all this fake blood and flesh, and like there's mosquitoes that are drawn to it because it's sticky and sweet, and you're just nasty, and it was hard.
No, I can imagine. I can imagine. There's a lot of people that I've spoken to. I rate the movie 5 out of 5 stars, easily. And a lot of people I talk to, they say like, oh, there's parts of the movie they don't really, and they don't like, oh, it's like, oh, it's this, it's that. They don't really like the vampire part. If it was, they separate it. So what is your take on like when you first read the script, what was your take on the vampire aspect of the movie and how it added to the movie? What was your take on that?
Well, I think it's a big swing. Coogler did something. The reason it's touching a nerve and hitting people in their soul is because it's something original.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, everybody isn't going to feel every single piece, but it's about the overall. And the overall quality of the film is undeniable. So each person that buys a ticket to the film has the right to feel however the film made them feel.
Yeah.
But I think that the proof is in the pudding on this one. And when you go down the line, years from now, people will still be talking about this film and what it meant. Him changing aspect ratios during the film, him telling a community story and a love story that then brings in the supernatural through music, that then brings in vampires that represent something as opposed to just being a horror or genre piece.
Mm-hmm.
The film is so deep that if you nitpick it, that's your choice. But I think you receive more if you take it for what it is symbolically, metaphorically, and literally. So if you go buy a ticket to the film, just like if you buy an album, it makes you feel how it makes you feel. Mm-hmm. Most of the takes that I've heard where there's any criticism are usually some version of contrarianism that people just want to be against the tide on the mainstream. But you're always going to have that.
Of course,
always, man. If you don't have any haters, you're not doing anything right, for
You're
sure.
right. You didn't make it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
What advice would you give aspiring young actors that are trying to get into the industry? You talked about it before, just being a blessing to be in this space and work. What is the advice you would give to competitors or people that are trying to break into this competitive field?
Go make your own stuff. It's the most important thing. First of all, you need to go to class, learn the craft of acting, get good. Mm-hmm. It's not the same as making your videos on the internet. Yeah. The acting is a craft. Learn it, get good, get in as much stuff as possible, and make your own stuff. Fail your way up.
Wow.
Yeah, I seen you said that. I seen you actually say that in an interview. On one of the interviews I saw, you talked about failing your way up, and I really like that.
Yeah, it's critical.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like you said, a lot now with social media and everything that goes on, and TikTok and everything that goes on with that kind of stuff. Everybody feels like there's a shortcut to everything that's going on. You see
it sounds good, but it doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
Because whether or not you want it to be, it doesn't. Even if you do get a hack and you get to it, if you want longevity and not just a quick hit, it's just the difference between writing a funny bit and writing a funny film or television show. These are different animals.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. And I think that one of the things that we talk about sometimes is through basketball. If you see on social media now, there's a lot of these basketball players that play on the side. They're not really professionals, but they try to make money off of doing it for views and stuff like that. And I feel like it's the same way in film. It's like people that are trying to shortcut their way without learning the craft and doing the work to get there.
Same way in life.
Yeah, exactly. So I totally agree with that. And with TikTok and everything like that and all that stuff, how do you think it like changes how you guys connect with fans? Or do you think it's like the same way? Because obviously you've been doing it for a very long time. You've seen it change.
It's up to you. If you want to engage further, you can. Like in this situation, I'm more active than I've been because of the fan interaction and the way that digitally, that's the space that people run to speak after they see the film. So that's a different animal than it is, when you're doing press tours of more traditional car washes, as they call them, when you go on television, you go on the radio. So I meet people all over the place. I meet them digitally. I meet them on traditional linear television. I meet them on the radio. I meet you at the farmer's market. Mm-hmm. So, for me, it can change it, but also, this sounds terrible to say, but how people are, if you ride the tide of people loving your stuff, then you have to ride the tide of when they don't feel it. So I make the stuff for me more so than I make it for anybody else. So I'm the arbiter, the curator of the taste.
Yeah, I like that.
That makes sense. That resonates a lot. I wanted to know, you had a dope career, dope journey, and we're going to continue to see, and we're excited to see what's next for you in your future with your career. Over the years, I wanted to ask you, if you had to choose a Mount Rushmore of your favorite characters that you've played, what are those roles or those characters? Could you list them?
Sam Train, Miracle of St. Anna, Saul George, 8 Mile, Reggie and Ptolemy Gray, and Charles Green on Ballers.
Tough.
I like that,
Big time.
man. Appreciate you being with us, man. Just one more quick question. Do you have anything? Do you have any sneak peeks to anything you got coming up that you're really excited about that you want to tell the fans about? And stuff like that,
please. I got a wonderful film that I did that came out in Italy only, and I don't know when it's going to come out for the rest of the world, but it's a wonderful film called Napoli to New York. And I got blessed because I made back-to-back films that I really liked how they turned out. And that doesn't always happen. Yeah. And I don't know when it's coming, but just apply pressure and see if you can find it, because it did gangbusters business in Italy. And it's another really timely, well-made film.
I like that. Well, we're super excited to see it, man. We're excited to see what you have coming up in the future. We've been big fans of you in the past, but we're really just excited and thankful that you were a part of it today. Thank you so much for giving us your time. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Big Marv.
Yes, sir.
Y'all stay up, man. Thanks for the support.
Thank you.